Andy Buchanan, Olympian and Australian men's marathon record holder, says that the Run Port Douglas half marathon course is the best in the world. Run Port Douglas is the perfect excuse to escape the cold and head to paradise for a run you'll never forget, and it's on Saturday the 5th of September. Then stay and experience the very best of tropical North Queensland, the Great Barrier Reef, Daintree Rainforest, 4 Mile Beach, world-class resorts, and Hartley's Crocodile Adventures, plus so much more. Enter now at runportdouglas.com.au.
This week's guest represented Australia at the Paris Olympics. He's a 60-minute half marathoner and holds the Australian marathon record with a time of 2:06:22. Welcome back to the Inside Running Podcast, Andy Buchanan.
Hey Crokes, thanks for having me on. We were just chatting. It's been a while, so it's nice to be back on.
Yeah, we're saying off air that I reckon the last time you were on was straight after you broke the Aussie marathon record. So that's what, a year and a half ago.
Yeah, it actually feels like 3 or 4 years ago. Like it's a bit of a distant memory, which is a bit sad. It's funny how quickly we move on from things, but it has been a while.
Well, one positive is that it's been so long that we've got actually a lot to recap. So it should be fun catching up, on the last year and a half or so. Before we get started, I just want to thank Run Port Douglas for making you available for this interview. So what are we, Wednesday, midweek long run this morning?
Yeah, a bit of a midweek. I've been changing it up a bit lately, and I'm not in a marathon block yet. So I really like going and doing this. Those that follow me on Strava will see I do this run called Herbert on a Wednesday. And it's probably more like from what I hear, what Mona and Deeks used to do. And it's like a really hilly, it's about 16.5K, probably like 500 meters elevation. And it is I average, if I run faster than 5-minute Ks, I'm running fast because you just can't run fast. So I've been doing that a bit, but actually this morning I ran with Matt and a bit of a more traditional midweek long, which was nice.
And do you change your midweek long when you're in a marathon block in terms of when you're not in a marathon block, your standard midweek long run might be 90 minutes, but in a marathon block, you're sort of getting closer to 2 hours?
Yeah. So it probably in just general base training, I like to do about 90 minutes, sometimes a little bit less. And I like to have some hills. And then before I go into a marathon block, or if I feel like I would need some extra fitness, I'll go and do this Herbert loop because I think it just uses such different muscles, puts a very different strain on the body. And then when I get into a marathon block, it's 1:45 to 2 hours and running that with a bit more purpose. So running that around 4:05s, kind of getting below 4-minute Ks, which I don't run that pace much at all.
And I guess because you don't do a session, you normally do sessions on a Friday. If you do that hilly long run, it doesn't matter if your legs are a bit beat up for Thursday.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I quite like it. On running those hills fatigued from a Tuesday session, I really like it. And it's just a bit of an adventure. You run on a single track. It's a bit different. You actually, I don't look at my watch once because it's a loop. So you just not even paying attention. If you looked at your heart rate, it would be skyrocketing. If you looked at pace, it would be really low. So I just kind of go out there and enjoy it.
Yeah. And are you amazed that guys like Deek and Mona used to do these sort of runs on a Wednesday and then go out the next day and do a Thursday session?
Yeah, I am a little bit. I don't know, what they did was a very different type of training, and they did shorter sessions. I'm probably more amazed at just the footwear. We are so lucky. I was chatting to Matt about this morning because we were just talking about being generally sore, and he was like, "Oh, do you get sore?" And I was like, "Nah, not and you know what it's like. Not like when you do a track session on a Tuesday and if that went well, your calves would only be sore for maybe a day. But if it went poorly, your calves would be tight for 2-3 days. And it's just not like that anymore. So I'm most amazed at what what they did given the footwear they were wearing. And I think the sessions they did were probably a lot less. So it was just very different, but probably hitting that intensity quite regularly was, yeah, it's pretty impressive.
Yeah. All right. We're going to chat about the last 2 years because I feel like the last 2 years you've had the highs of your running career and probably the lows in that period. So just to set the scene for the listeners, you go to the Olympics in 2024. You then break the Aussie marathon record later that year. Start of 2025 is really solid, 60:28 at Marigami, 11th at London Marathon. You win Gold Coast half in 61:08, which was an all-comers record at the time. Like that period must have been amazing for you. Just want to describe how that felt, where everything's ticking, the results are coming, your profile's skyrocketing.
Yeah, it was a really good time, and it's funny. Like everyone would always ask, like, "Oh, what are you doing different now to the last like 10 years?" And it's like I wasn't doing anything different. It was just like I think winning Gold Coast half and then getting that ticket into the Olympics, like a big thing went off in my brain. Like mentally, I just thought that I was actually a good runner, and prior to that, I thought I was like a good state level runner. And then yeah, running the Australian record, it's just like things started to snowball. And yeah, I loved being in that position. Like, I think everyone likes a bit of spotlight. I think they're lying if they say they don't. And especially being a runner, like for so long, there was no spotlight on running. And like, kudos to you guys. You guys bring a lot to the sport, but also just with so many people running now, it is really cool. And yeah, I enjoyed that. And I probably got a little bit carried away. Like I was getting a lot of sponsorship offers and doing a lot of commitments. And I think I was burning both ends of the candle a little bit, and still trying to run well. So I ran Sunny Coast half a few weeks after Gold Coast, and I think I ran 62 low or something. And it was like, honestly, that is the easiest race I'd ever done. And I felt like on that day I could have got to 35K at that pace. And I was like, oh, I'm in a really good position here. I'm really keen to do a marathon because I feel like I could have just kept that going. And then, yeah, obviously had a few injuries and, yeah, it's been a bit of an up and down.
Yeah, so our listeners probably haven't heard the injury cycle, and I'm not fully aware of what happened either. So when did you first have some pain, and how did that all play out? Because just having a look at your Strava, it looks like you were injured, you then had a comeback, didn't work, then you were injured again. So do you want to talk us through that sort of 6-month period?
Yeah. So I did Gold Coast half, and then I did Sunny Coast half, and then I came home, and I think it was a few weeks after that, just started getting a bit of a pain in my femur. And prior to this, I'd had 2 stress reactions pretty high in the femur, in the same spot, same leg, and started getting this pain. I was like, oh, this doesn't feel that good. I remember I was doing a lot of, I was traveling down to Melbourne and doing some stuff in the heat chamber. And I remember doing a session at Albert Park, and it had been sore for probably a week, but I felt like it would warm up. And I'm like, oh, this is good. Like, it's fine. And then I did this session. I was just like, oh, no, this isn't fine. Went and got a scan, and had, a pretty low grade stress reaction in my femur. And yeah, that was the week of Sydney Marathon, because I remember I was up there with a few different partners and everyone's asking me about world champs, and I'm kind of like, I was pretty honest about it. Like I think that's always the best thing to do is people share the highs, and often they don't really share the lows, but it's a part of sport, it's a part of life. So I've tried to be really transparent through it all, and some people go into hiding. Whereas like with me, I put absolutely everything on Strava. So if something doesn't pop up on Strava, I haven't ran that day. I never hide things. So I remember being in Sydney Marathon weekend. Like the city was like alive there was so much energy, so many good things happening. And I had world champs in, I think, 3 weeks. And yeah, I just found out that weekend that I had a stress reaction, and I was chatting to my sports doc, and we wanted to give myself every opportunity. So we went a pretty aggressive, I suppose, return where we had a week off and then tried to go for a jog. And this is when I was up in Cairns, and it was just like, it wasn't right. And I'm not someone I can't run through pain. I don't know, just my brain's like, no, it's hurting. There's a reason. So I'm not someone who's, going to do that. And then was up in Cairns with the team, which was pretty tricky because everyone in the camp were going to world champs. And I was like, oh, like maybe it comes good, maybe a few more days rest. And then I ended up making the decision like, nah, it was literally the day before the team flew out. I was like, this isn't like, I went for a 20-minute jog and I could feel it 5 minutes in. I'm not going to be able to run a marathon, let alone race a marathon. So pulled the pin there, which was like I've never really pulled out of a race before, and like wearing the Australian singlet means a lot to me, and that was pretty disappointing. And I'd become pretty close with Tim and Liam. They were on the team as well, and that was their first team, and I was really looking forward to going over with them and being part of the team. So that was pretty challenging. And then came home and actually enjoyed a bit of a holiday in Port Douglas after that, which I think I needed. I needed to get away from running a little bit, even though I was up there for a running event. I needed to because in Bendigo, like when I'm injured, every person asks me, oh, how's your injury going? Are you back running? And it's just like that question. I know, and they're coming from a good place, but answering that 4 or 5 times a day, it gets pretty draining. So it was really nice to head up to Port Douglas and just be a random walking around, chilling on the beach. Came home.
Was Valencia Marathon ever on the radar for you? Were you
Yeah, it
planning
was.
on?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So I came home. I had a bit more time off, and then was chatting with my sports doc, and I was like, I want to do Valencia. And he's like, okay, cool. Let's see how it goes. Let's go a bit more aggressive. And so, because I think I was like, I have this in my head where I was like, the start of the year, I wanted to do world champs, wanted to do London, world champs, and Valencia. And I was like, London, major, awesome experience. World champs, represent your country. Valencia, fast race, you can't miss it. And that's what I just thought about all year. And when I missed world champs, I was like, oh, I can still salvage this year by doing Valencia. So I had a bit of a rest and came back into training and actually had no awareness. Got back into I probably had 2 full weeks. And on that 3rd week, I remember doing a track session and I just felt this awareness and pain. And I was like, oh, I know exactly what that is. And then went and got a scan, and sure enough, it literally had come back in the exact same spot. Very low grade again, but obviously it hadn't fully healed. And so that meant that I kind of missed Valencia, which was pretty hard. I was kind of living as a full-time runner, and when that kind of gets taken away from you, and I own a running shop and I'm an online run coach, and running's a big part of my life. And when running's going good, that's awesome. But when you can't run, it's pretty challenging. And I spoke to my sports doc, and we were aware that we were taking a risk. And I don't regret that. I think you've got to take these risks, and it didn't pay off that time. But that was pretty hard, and especially when Have-To and Brett, not so much Brett, but Have-To was pretty just putting it out there. He was going for the record, and knowing that I was kind of planning on being there, and I know I can run faster, that was pretty hard to sit at home and watch that just unfold. And at that stage, I think that weekend I went for my first walk run, and I was like, holy shit, I'm so far from being fit, let alone being race fit, let alone marathon fit. And and then I was like, right, I need to do this by the book. This time I need to go through full rehab. So I think I had in between those two, I reckon I had 4 weeks off ish. And it was a pretty aggressive return to run. Whereas this second time I probably had 10 weeks off, fully off. And then it was it was very, you would have heard Brady talking about it. We both had Paddy Stowe, and it was pretty similar to Brady's recovery, which was pretty long. And then in the meantime, I had signed up for Boston, because this is how I make a living, and you need to put your hand up for these things when, because that's, you kind of depend on that income. And then once I actually kind of like had the time off and then got back into my return to run, I was just like, oh, it's not going to happen. But it kind of sucked because I got my hopes up for that. And then, yeah, it didn't happen. So it was three marathons in a row that I was planning on doing. And like, you know what it's like, you train for a marathon, that's all you think about. And you're so excited for it. And but now I'm back. I've had like probably one little patch of awareness, but that disappeared pretty quickly. I'm kind of like, one good thing is I've got a really good like kind of team around me. So like Patty's part of that, who's my physio. Jess Rothwell, like she's my dietitian through the VIS, my sports doctor. And then I've also got some other people from the VIS where we catch up pretty regularly, along with my coach, Scotty. And like I'm getting blood tests done every kind of 6 weeks just to see how my markers are. And like my diet is I didn't realize how much I was under fueling. Sleep's a lot better. So it's like, I feel like I'm in such a better position now to perform. So it's like, injuries aren't that bad as long as you learn something from them.
Yeah. So I guess my question was like, what have you learned from this period? And the one thing that I think our listeners should get a lot from the fact that just because you have a deadline of a world champs or a Valencia, the body doesn't care. It's like you can't rush these things. Otherwise, you end up in this constant cycle of run for 4 weeks, 4 weeks off, 4 weeks on, 4 weeks off. And as you said, because of that, you missed 3 marathons, whereas maybe you would have missed one and you would have been okay for Boston.
Yeah. Yeah, if that's the thing, I would have done Boston if I didn't try for Valencia, and that's learning. And yeah, I don't know. I've been given some pretty harsh feedback from people that, and it is learning, and it's I think for me it's just like I now don't like, I kind of work with my coach and my manager and try to let them have more control over what I do and try and take a back step and just kind of like I think they will do what's best for me, because I think last year I got preoccupied with being like, all right, London World Champs Valencia, that's what I'm doing, and got too like locked in on that, whereas I'm like trying to really take a backward step and not think about that. Like I'm thinking about Gold Coast half, and that's all I'm thinking about right now.
Yeah. And if you look back at when you first got the injury, like you said, you're burning the candle at both ends. If you had to put your finger on sort of what caused it, was it not eating enough, maybe underestimating how much the heat training was taking out of you in terms of like demand on the body and needing to fuel and that sort of thing? What would you put it down to?
Yeah, I think it was just I was putting my body through too much, a bit too much like life stress, not enough sleep, and then fueling. Definitely wasn't too much training, because I've done like my build to London was way bigger, and I was doing a lot more training. And like Scotty, my coach, was pretty surprised because he's like, we've been pretty chill, so it's pretty confident it wasn't that. I think I was just not like, I was putting my body, not running wise, just through too much stress and not enough time to recover.
Yeah, and this, I said to you off air, I wanted to chat about you, sort of Andy Buchanan, the brand, because obviously now that you're the Australian record holder, that opens up a lot of opportunities. And so this also coincided with you starting your like YouTube channel, which like I get it, like you're the Aussie record holder, let's build this momentum. But it was almost like, what was it, first episode after the first episode of YouTube, you're injured for the next 6 months. So 2 questions. What inspired starting up the YouTube? And in hindsight, do you wish you had either started it earlier, like straight off the back of the Aussie record, or started it now with the rebuild?
Yeah, so the YouTube, one of my mates, Rin, kind of reached out and he's like, look, I've got this idea of starting this YouTube. Are you interested? And I was like, yeah, sure. Why not? Sounds like a bit of fun. And yeah, we literally filmed the first episode up in Port Douglas. And I remember it was me watching the race, like the World Champs race. And when I was talking to Rin about the idea of the YouTube, I was just keen to show everything. Like, I feel like as a fan of the sport, you might see the Instagram upload of like me in Gold Coast crossing the line, winning, and maybe some other photos, but that's it. You don't see what happens 2 months, 6 months, 12 months beforehand. So I was just keen to show more of that and to show more of like what I get up to, and then it's not just all like the race winnings and I don't know, the sexy stuff. So I kind of said to him, I was like, look, like if we do this, I want this to be authentic, and I want it to be like the good stuff and the bad stuff and the ugly stuff and all that. So I don't like. It would have been cool to start it earlier, because it's like it's a kind of like, I have so many people who talk to me and they say, oh yeah, we love watching YouTube, and like my son's been watching it, and like now all they like, I think the latest one I ate like just some plain white bread before a 5K race, and they're like, yeah, my son now just wants to have plain white bread for breakfast, and I'm like, oh shit, like I should probably just be careful what I'm doing on this YouTube. But it's I don't know, I really want to be very honest and transparent there and show all that stuff. And it was quite funny, like my first 5 episodes had like very limited running, and that's okay. I think it's important. Like too often when runners get injured, they just shut up shop and they go dark on Strava. They don't do anything. And it's like, that's not actual real life. So I think I want to be very authentic through it. And I don't have any regrets about starting that when it was, when I was injured. And I don't know. I think there's a lot of people that like joke about it, which is completely fine. But then those same people also say, oh, I wish running had more storytelling. And it's like, wow. Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously since the start of the year, you've slowly built back up, had a couple of like really solid results at XCR, the Albert Park 5K, 13:53. Are you happy with how the rebuild's gone, and were you happy with that 13:53?
Yeah, the rebuild has gone really well. At the time, I wasn't happy with it because I think I'm a competitor and I wasn't happy finishing third. But I had to like take a step back and just be like, hey, how good is it to be running? But I've been pretty surprised. Actually, you'll be interested in this, did some lactate and VO2 max testing. And I did it the week of that 5K down at the VIS. And the last time I went and got tested was like a week and a half after Maragami. So the start of 2025, which is like, that's when I ran my half PB. So that's probably arguably when I was in the best shape. And I remember doing the test and I said to Avish, I said, don't tell me what the results are, because I think they're going to be pretty poor and I've got to race a 5K in like 3 days. So I don't need this in my head, because I think I'd probably been back like actual training, like 2 sessions a week, running about 150K for probably like 3 or 4 weeks at this stage. And I felt like I was getting fitter every week. And I was just like, yeah, like every run, I felt like I was getting fitter. So I go down and do this test and I said, Vish, don't tell me the results. And I start with just the lactate test. And he's like, oh, this is pretty good. And I was like, what is it? And he's like, and I still had the VO2 one to go. And he's like, oh, pretty much exactly the same as what it was pre or post Maragami. I was like, oh, okay. And then did the VO2, and my VO2 was like 0.7 off what it was post Maragami. And my lactate like levels were exactly the same. My heart rate was like 1 or 2 beats higher in those zones, but everything was exactly the same, which like, I was like, that's pretty surprising, because I feel like I'm just starting to get the ball going. And like this data, like you can't fudge that. Do you know what I mean? Like it's so that gave me a lot of confidence, and I felt like I was just a bit off race fit, if that makes sense. Like I think my body, but also my brain wasn't like ready to put myself in that really dark place. So that was a nice confidence booster. And like Avish was like, look, what you and Scotty are doing is working. And did the 5K. The 5K was good. And then I did gels like 6 days later. And I felt like that was like a lot better. And I was like, okay, yeah, I think I'm in a good position here. Did Bendigo, which was, I'd been like pretty sick that week and shouldn't have ran, but like your home race, you're always going to win. And that was a bit of a to the confidence. But like that's okay. Like it's not the end of the world. I was pretty disappointed at the time, but like I'm kind of over it now, and I'm looking forward to Gold Coast. I think I'm going to be in a better position than what I was last year. So
Yeah. So given the data from the lab testing, like, were you half tempted to put in a late entry for Launceston?
nah, I'd spoken to Scotty about it, and like he's just like he's not that keen for me to do that many half marathons this year. Like just because there's a race on, you don't need to go and do it. And I was happy with that. I wasn't tempted at all. And often if I want to do a race, I'll say to Scotty like, "Hey, I want to do this," and then I normally can do it. But I really wanted to race in Bendigo. Like I don't get to race in Bendigo at all. And yeah, as it turns out, like I was pretty sick that week, so probably a good thing I didn't go down to Launceston. But it looked like really good conditions. Looks like the course is a little bit faster than previous years, so had a bit of FOMO when I saw the times. But I don't want to just race.
Yeah.
The second edition of Run Port Douglas is coming up on Saturday, the 5th of September 2026. With running events around the world selling out faster than ever, now is your time to secure your race entry. Whether you're chasing a personal best or simply looking for an unforgettable experience in paradise, there's a distance for everyone. Choose from the half marathon, Pacific Toyota 10K, 5K run or walk, or the 2K event presented by Sheraton Grand Mirage Resort Port Douglas. All races finish on the hard-packed flat sands of the 4 Mile Beach, giving participants the unique opportunity to cross the finish line and head straight into the ocean for a refreshing swim. Don't miss one of Australia's most spectacular running events. Enter now at runportdouglas.com.au and beat the next price increase. Standard entry pricing ends at midnight on the 31st of July 2026.
You make a really good point about how the lab testing wasn't that different from when you were in PB shape over the half, despite obviously not having a very long build. And like I've noticed it myself over the years, whenever I've had a break, I feel like I generally do come back pretty quickly, and sometimes better than I was before I had the break. And I think that comes down to the fact that you said the reason why you're running so well, Olympics, Aussie record, like you didn't really change anything for the last however many years, but the fact that you'd strung together so many years of training, having a bit of downtime doesn't really affect things in the long term that much.
So true. And we just overtrain all the time. Like we are in a constant state of overtraining. And that year that I ran Gold Coast Half, Olympics, Valencia, I was meant to do Fukuoka in December before that. That was when I got my second stress reaction in my femur. So I had a bit of time off and then hit Hamburg in April pretty fresh. And then just kind of built up from there. So I think it's got me pretty excited about what the second half of the year can look like for me.
Yeah. Can you take us through what you did last week in training? I've just got your Strava here. It looks like pretty decent week, 155K.
Yeah. So if you look the week before, I think it was like 70 or something.
Yeah, 84 maybe.
Yeah.
86.
Yeah. I had a full day off, which that doesn't, other than
86K. It looks like you have more than
more
than a day off.
Well, one day
86.
One day I did like a 20-minute run, and I was like, "Oh, I'm cooked here." So this last week was all about just getting back into normal running. I didn't want to do anything too impressive in training. It was just like, let's be consistent. But it's actually like a good example of how my life has changed a little bit. So Monday, I just did Lake Loop. This is like a very flat loop. It's all about recovering off the back of Sunday. So that was like 14K, 411s, literally like an hour. Pretty chill. Didn't double because this week I wasn't chasing Ks. It was just about doing a run a day and feeling good. Did a bit of like a bread and butter session on the Tuesday morning, which was 8 by K. I'm pretty good at this, like not getting caught up on the times I'm running. I feel like it doesn't affect my confidence. And I know a lot of people will train because they want stuff to look good, but that's just never been a thing for me. And some of the guys I train with, they'll be like, oh, what are we opening up in? And I was like, I don't know, we'll just see what it is. Like it might be a 252, it might be a 258. Like I'll just see how I feel, and then we'll go from there. And I think that's because I've done a lot of training by myself, and I haven't trained in a group where it's like, if you train in a big group, someone's always going to be feeling good. So the chances of you pushing when you probably shouldn't be are really high. So I did 8 by K, nothing impressive here, like 256, 59, 55, 56, 53, 55, 53, 55.
So this is like somewhere between 10K and half marathon pace.
Well, I'd nearly say half marathon pace and marathon pace. Like my marathon pace is 3-minute Ks.
Yeah, so half, yeah. Well, actually, like, because I've been doing some of these like Norwegian stuff, if like reading like Marius Backen's book, if I'm doing K reps, it almost should be at my sort of 60-minute race pace.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's like, as you said, it's bread and butter. Like you're not meant to come out and have like the best average you can for the session.
No. And like I think you should always run that session feeling like if you had to do 2 more, you could. Like it'd be hard, but you could do it. Like, and you're not like, oh my God, this is really hard. So that was good. Like I wrote here in my little journal, just like felt pretty good. And I think it was just, I actually hadn't done a session since the Friday 2 weeks prior, because I didn't do a session at all the week before. So it just felt nice just to get running again. I did gym straight after that, which is pretty one of the like things I always like to do. And then I did a double in Manly. So I flew up to Sydney that afternoon, ran along the beach there, just 30 minutes, pretty chill. And then Wednesday I ran in the morning. I had an event with AG1. So that was just like I did 34 minutes, 7.6K, and then did a 16K kind of midweek long run, which was like 76 minutes along the northern beaches. Geez, it's pretty nice along there. Don't get scenery like that in Bendigo. 446ers, just like super chill. Like I'd been up pretty early that morning, so I was like, this is not a run where I need to be running 410s, and I just need to kind of get the work in. So I was in Sydney. I came home Thursday, so I had an ASICS shoot up in Sydney on Thursday morning, and then flew home and then ran in the dark. Felt pretty blue collar there with the head torch on, which I like doing every now and then. Did a loop I do pretty regularly, which is res loop, which is 14K, 65 minutes, 438s. There's probably about like 250 meters elevation there. Not a lot of flat. Friday went out to Huntley. So this is like where we do our marathon sessions. It's Brady thinks there's a hill out there, but there's not a hill. Like it's actually crazy. He thinks that, but it's like it's a 4K. Like on the road, really nice loop. And
Brady jumps a curb in Moama and he thinks it's a hill.
Yeah. Crazy. Actually, he does pretty well on a Sunday when he comes down with us. I'll credit him that, considering the hills he has to work with. But this session, so I did 10K of like a 4-minute kind of like a thresholdy kind of effort, 1 minute hard, and then 1 minute easy. So I was running kind of like 3-minute Ks for the 4 minutes, about 250s for the minute hard, and then the minute easy, I'd run kind of like 330s. So I did that for 10K continuous, had about 2 minutes rest, and then did 1 lap, which is like 4.1K at 255s. Scotty and I come up with a plan of trying to hit like half marathon intensity there, not pace, like intensity, like how it should kind of feel in a half marathon, which was good. And then I did gym and then just did a double in the afternoon. Saturday, just ran out in the bush, 16.5K, 65 minutes, 430s, some nice hills. And then, I did 7s on the Sunday, which was 34K, 2.5 hours, 425. So that's just like, I do 2.5 hours every Sunday. So that's just, that's like a normal long run. Like the week before, I think I did like 1:45, and I just like the whole day, it just didn't feel like a Sunday because I was like, I haven't done 2.5 hours. And then did gym after that. I normally gym on a Saturday, on a Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, but because got home late from Sydney on the Thursday, I gymmed Friday, so therefore gymmed Sunday. So it was 155K. That's it's a pretty light on week for me. But like, yeah, session Tuesday, Friday, long run Sunday. That's kind of like that's what I do in 3 gym sessions. So
what's your long run shoe?
Super Blast 2.
Yeah, okay. Because I was wondering whether you're a bit more of the, there's the two camps. It's like, don't wear a sort of super trainer on your long runs because it's going to like make you a bit sort of durable and a bit tougher versus the, hey, let's just get through this long run as easy as possible.
Yeah, I love that shoe because it's actually just so comfy. And I've worn the Mega Blast a little bit, but it's a bit too fast, and I find that I'm running away from the group, which is not good. Super lucky that ASICS have so many good shoes to choose from. And yeah, I've got a bit of a stockpile of the Super Blast 2, which is good. So it's like the whole group these days is in Super Blast or Mega Blast. Like it's just crazy.
Mega Blast has been my long run shoe. It's made it so easy.
Yeah, the 2's coming out soon, and it is a very, very good upgrade.
Yeah. So you're just chatting before you headed to Sydney for an AG1 commitment, and also ASICS. Like, how many different brands are you working with?
Yeah, good question. There's a few. There's not a lot. I reckon there's probably 4 or 5, and they're all quite different. And it's like, because I can't live the lifestyle I live just off one brand partnership. And you've kind of got to make hay while the sun shines. So this is something I'm probably still getting better at, but just like we're not like footy players who can just kind of like live off the support we get from the AFL or anything like that. So I've got a few partners, but they're all brands that I like. One of them, Morton. Like I use Morton, and it's like a no-brainer. Another one, Dr. Hydrate. I was buying that from my shop before I signed with them. So I only sign with brands that I align with and things that I actually use, because or else it's just not authentic.
Yeah. Turning our attention to Run Port Douglas, how do these sort of ambassador roles come about?
Yes, this is a funny one. I was in Cairns on a training camp. I was up there twice, and I think this was the first time a mutual friend connected me with the race organizer, and pretty much just said, "Oh, this guy runs. He's from Cairns. He'll be able to let you know." Because you know what it's like when you get to a new city and you just don't really know where to run, and you need to talk to a local. So I caught up with Bade for coffee, and yeah, he kind of gave me some of that local knowledge, and he said, "Oh, you should come up to Port Douglas." I said, "Oh yeah, sounds good." So Tim and I went up there, and I just fell in love with the place. And then Bade was kind of telling us how they had their inaugural event later on in the year, and then things kind of changed, and I didn't go to World Champs. And Bade's like, "Do you want to come up?" I said, "Yeah, sounds good." And yeah, I'm going up there again this year, and I just love it. Like the beach up there is awesome. Port Douglas is a place. It's just like it's not that busy, and yeah, it's a nice holiday, and it's really cool to give to an event like this. That's like they just want to build running in their local community.
Yeah, and what did you? Because you were injured last year. What did the weekend look like for you?
Yeah, I was just kind of on the start line. I had to do a bit of a talk before the start, and then went to the finish line and handed out all the finishing medals, which was quite funny. Like just actually, like we've obviously, you too, you've been in a lot of finish lines, but you never actually like see the first person and then the last person, and just all the different, there's some characters that come through the finish line. So yeah, I just kind of did some stuff like that, it was really cool to be involved in an event in such a different way.
And are you running it this year, or as an ambassador, you're not allowed to run it?
I don't know. I want to run it, so I need to check that. But I will be there. I'll probably do the 10K. I think Bade wants me to do the half, but I'll probably do the 10K. We'll just see. But I don't really want to like fully send it. But yeah, we'll see what happens.
Just enough to pick up some cash, hey?
Nah, not actually the opposite. I just want to do it to support the event. I don't really. I would feel bad I'm a bit different to you, Crokes.
Well said. I tell you what, they've done a bloody good job though. I can't remember the last time a fun run had the two Australian record holders as ambassadors.
Well, they have done well, but when you've got an attraction like Port Douglas, like, yeah, it's why not? And Jess has been up there this week and she's been spamming me with, photos on the beach and all that kind of stuff. So it's a good spot. You should come up and have a run.
Yeah, maybe. Certainly be nice to get out of the Canberra cold.
That's the thing. It's perfect timing. Like, it's actually like when like winter's dragging on, you go up there and it's like mid-20s, water's nice and warm. So it is such a great place to go and a really fun event to do.
Now, you've probably seen some of the media around this saying it's the best half marathon course in the world. Now, that's a big statement. Did you say that yourself, or are they saying that? And if so, like, what makes the course so good?
No, yeah, I said that. I said that because Bade, he was first explaining the course to me, and he told me that it finishes on a beach, and I hate beach running, like, because it's always like on a slope, and it's just like, this sucks. And I've ran on a few different beaches, never enjoyed it. And he's like, the finish line is on a beach. And I'm like, oh, what? This is going to be crap. And then anyway, we get up there. Tim and I jog the course and we finish on, I think it's 4 Mile Beach. I think that's what it's called. And it is so nice. Like because the tides up there are really big, and it is flat. Like, there's actually no camber, and it's like the most beautiful beach ever. And it's like running on like nicely compacted dirt.
Yeah. So it's really, yeah. So it's not like the soft sand.
No.
Yeah.
And like, it is really, really nice. And there's like palm trees to your left. It's very scenic. And I was like, I think us as runners, we get so caught up on times, and therefore we look at courses. Like, I love Launceston and Gold Coast, but they're not very scenic courses. Like, Launceston finishes in like an industrial estate, which is great if you want to run fast. Like, honestly, it's a great event. Gold Coast, like, it's okay, but Gold Coast isn't really that specky. Whereas like this, you go there and you enjoy the run in the moment because it is so beautiful. And I think we as runners should get better at embracing courses like Sydney, where you get to see some really cool sights. Yes, it's not the fastest event to do, but it's not always all about times.
Yeah, and look, compact sand, running on that stuff is great. I think the last 3.6K of the course is on the beach, which when things start to hurt and you look to your either left or right, whichever side the ocean's on, then it makes it a bit easier.
Yeah, and you might even, if you're lucky, you might get to see some crocodiles, which will make you run even faster.
Yeah. What else have you? So you mentioned you're going to do Gold Coast. You'll be up in Port Douglas. What else looking ahead for the rest of the year?
Yeah, that's like good question. I actually don't know, and this is where I'm trying to get better and just kind of stand back. And like, I know that my coach and manager have plans, and I'm just trying to not think about them and just be very like short-sighted, I suppose, and just be thinking what's coming up next. And I'll do the traditional Sandown relays, which are now at Calder Park. So AV race, that's the week before Gold Coast, and I'll do Gold Coast. Long term, like I'd be lying if I said that I didn't have an eye on Olympic qualification. But I don't know when and where and all that kind of stuff. So yeah.
So you don't have a marathon locked in, but you just can't announce it because it hasn't been like the event hasn't announced it yet. Like, do you have a marathon locked in? Don't have to tell us which one, but do you have a marathon locked in?
I don't know what I can say there, Craig.
I'd say that probably as a yes, I reckon.
Hey, take it however you want. I'm just saying, I'm not sure.
Very good. Anything else you reckon we should touch on? Have I missed anything that we?
No, I don't think so.
Cool. Well, that's been awesome to catch up. It's awesome to see you back running. And what are your thoughts on the new standards for like world champs? I guess it's not too far removed from what you've run.
Yeah, I'm not surprised, to be honest. Like, it's like they're always like, you're seeing more and more runners running faster and faster. So the times are going to get faster. So I expected it to be 26 or 206 flat. So I wasn't that surprised, but then I'm nervous. Often it goes world champs and then Olympics is faster again. So that kind of scares me. But I've just got to think like when they announced world champs, I think it was 206.30 or 206.40. That scared me. And then I kind of ran a little bit faster than that. And then there is little things that happen, so you can get in different ways. So yeah, I don't know. For me, it's like I honestly felt like when I ran 208.40 in Hamburg in April, that was harder than running 206.20 in Valencia. Like I thought that was a more impressive run. So I know that there's more there, and I know that I can run 205. It's just about being in the right race at the right time when I'm fit. And I don't know, looking at that data and knowing how I'm feeling, and I know that I'm getting fitter every week. I know I can run 205. It's just about when. So the 206 flat doesn't scare me too much because it's not that far from my PB.
And World Road Running Champs this year, have you given much thought to that? So
I didn't even know they were on. I was talking to Izzy when I was up in Sydney, and she's like, "Oh yeah, like talking about that," and I was like, "Oh, are they?" So I didn't even know, where are they? Do you know?
Good question.
Yeah, so that's the thing. I literally have my blinkers on so much. I'm not even like I know it's a cliche answer, but I'm honestly just thinking about Gold Coast, and not really thinking outside of that, other than the XCR stuff for the bats.
And speaking of Gold Coast, like how would you say your form is? Like I suppose you haven't been able to really test it, but in terms of just the way that you feel running your sessions now compared to when you won last year.
I think I'm a fair bit fitter.
That's good.
Just based off like the testing, and then I feel like I did a session yesterday, and I reckon it's like the biggest cheat code for me. And it's like this session where I do like hills thresh. But we've progressed it to doing pretty hard stuff rather than threshold stuff. And like how I was feeling during that, like I haven't felt that easy running sub 250s ever. And I still just feel like every week I'm getting fitter. So
that's good.
Yeah, I'm really excited for Gold Coast, and I would love, if we have a good field, I think I can run a PB, and it'd be cool to get close to 60. So We'll wait and see what happens.
Have you heard who's running up there? Have to going to have a run?
I've heard he's running, but I don't know if he's going to be in that event.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't want to speak too much. That's his news, but it's going to be an interesting field. They always get plenty of people from Japan come out. I'd love for Jimmy Whelan to come over and actually do a race here in Australia. I need to send him a message and tell him to come over. But
he'll listen to this. You put the challenge out, hey?
Yeah, we'll see.
See you on the Gold Coast.
Yeah, we'll see if he comes back. But it'd be fun to race him, and hopefully there's a good field so we can run nice and fast.
Yeah, and my last one, given like Scotty, like I raced Scotty a lot over the years, and he's a bit of old school approach. When it comes to your 2.5 hour long runs, I'm sure he would have done a ton of sort of fasted long runs. Probably, are you a big fueler like on these 2.5 hour runs?
Yeah, so I never use. So I don't have a great appetite. Like I'm not a big eater, and I used to do these fully fasted, but not intentionally, just because like I'd wake up, and we start at 7 here in the morning on a Sunday, and I'd literally wake up at 6:40. You'd like go to the toilet, you get changed, and then you'd be out the door. And I literally wouldn't have anything, and I'd do the whole long run completely, like absolutely no fuel. And Scotty liked that at the start because he was like, you're teaching your body to use fats, all this kind of stuff, which that's what they did back then. Like that was the thinking. And then it was a bit funny. I was having consults with my dietitian who was saying the opposite. And then, and now Scotty's kind of the opposite, where he's now checking up on me and he's like, I'm trying to take, like, I actually took my Morton drink mix during my session yesterday because I'm trying to like maximize how much I can take on. So I'm having Morton every session, every long run. Like I'm having a liter of 320 drink mix on a Sunday, every Sunday. And how he's like checking in on me to make sure I'm like reaching those like carbohydrate intake goals. So it's gone like full circle. And now I look back and I'm like, shit, like what was I doing? Like that's just, but I actually think it helped me, but I wouldn't recommend it to anyone, but I think it actually helped me be more efficient. And yeah,
I totally agree. So like when I ran my marathon PB in the lead up to that, I was doing these 2 hour 30, 2 hour 40 long runs with nothing. Like I wouldn't even have milk in my coffee. I was literally having, and I never drink black coffee. I was having black coffee. I was having some amino acids in the morning before my run, and like that stuff tasted like crap. I had to like hold my nose to get it down. And I must admit, my body learnt to run a long way with nothing.
Yeah.
Whereas now I feel like I'll take, sometimes 90 grams on a long run, sometimes 60, but I would struggle to run 37 kilometers now without bonking because I've got used to now taking on. But that being said, I'm sure the wear and tear on the body was much higher doing these 37K long runs with absolutely nothing.
Yeah, I don't think it's sustainable. And I think like I look at it now and I'm like, oh, this is helping me. Like this fueling now is helping me run well the next week and the next week and the next week and the next week. So it's like, yeah. But I agree. I think your body does learn how to be really efficient. And it's like, okay, I've really got to keep these carb stores and save them up kind of thing. So it's, but it is funny now. You see people go out for a 5K, 10K and they've got their vest on and they're having all these gels and it's just like, running's changed a bit.
Yeah, I'm like you with sessions now. Like if I'm on the treadmill, I'll have, or even sessions at the track now, it's like, 30 grams before I start the session and probably another 30 grams just during the session as well.
Yeah, right. See, I'm not tracking. Like people ask me all the time, how much do you have during a marathon? And I honestly don't know. Like I fill my bottles up. I probably put about 140 mil of the 320 mix in there, which I don't know how many carbs that is. And depending on how I'm feeling, I'll drink half of that. I'll drink nearly all of it. I might just have 2 sips and then I kind of like get rid of it because I might be going through a rough patch. And it's just like, I think I'm just really good at knowing, like I'll never not take anything, but if I feel like I'm struggling and I had a bit too much the last one, I'll just take a little bit and then try and sit with it for a bit longer. But people get really obsessive about the numbers. And it's like, I think you've just got to like go on how you're feeling because your body knows.
So on your Sunday runs, you don't know how many grams you're having in that liter? Is it?
I don't know. Like my dietitian knows, and it's like it's 2 packets of the 320 drink mix.
Yeah,
so
I don't use Morton, so I don't know.
Mate, it's the best. It's the best product out there. You need to get on it.
Precision's pretty good.
Okay, yeah, right. But Morton, they've actually brought out this flavor mix, which is really good. So I'll get Toomey to hit you up.
Well, I'll let you go. What do you got planned for this afternoon?
I've got an appointment with Jess shortly, and then I'll go out for a double, do a little bit of coaching. But just living the lifestyle like you, full-time runner.
Yeah, nice. Jess was an athlete at the AIS when I lived on site there.
Yeah, race walker.
Yeah, great girl. Yeah,
that's why it's so good chatting to her, like because she just understands like endurance sports. And it's she's helped me so much. Like I didn't realize how much I was under fueling, like just crazy. Like I'm eating twice as much now. Like it's actually the hardest thing is just like every day making sure I'm having like really good breakfast, really good lunch, really good dinner. So it's
she's great. You're in good hands there.
No, exactly.
Thanks, Andy. It's always great catching up with you. You speak really well. All the best for Gold Coast, and I guess the 6 months after that.
Yeah, thanks. We'll see what's on the plan.
Yeah, and hopefully it's not like a year and a half until we get you back on.
Hey, I'm always happy to come on, Crokes. So you just let me know.
All right, I will. Thanks, mate.
Thanks, bye.
Win the ultimate Run Port Douglas getaway for 2. One lucky winner will receive return economy flights for 2 from anywhere in Australia, a 2-night stay at the Sheraton Grand Mirage Resort Port Douglas, and 2 complimentary race entries into the Run Port Douglas events of their choice. Entering is easy. Simply sign up to their newsletter, then share the competition on your social media to earn additional entries and increase your chance of winning. Don't miss your chance to race in paradise and experience everything Port Douglas has to offer. This competition closes at 11:30 p.m. on Sunday, the 12th of July, 2026. Enter now at runportdouglas.com.au.